Small Talk. Hey, what's up? We're here with another episode of Small Talk. You already know, two queens, two perspectives, but tonight we have the privilege of having three kings with us from Millennials versus the World podcast. Super dope to have y'all here. Asia, let's get into it. What we jumping into tonight?
Okay, so tonight we are talking about fatherhood. So it's going to be, we have a bunch of questions for y'all, and we really just want to hear your perspectives because we know that you all are. And so the first question is, what is the best part of being a father?
Anybody? Who want to take it first?
Yeah.
I'll take it first. I think the reason why I want to go first is because I was a dad way later than them two, and I think their perspective is probably going a lot deeper than mine. I think the best part is I think just kind of being able to have your touch on something from the beginning, taking all your knowledge, taking all your wisdom, taking all your intent, and like pouring it into this person that you know will like, no matter what they do, you know that you're pouring your everything into them. And I think, relationships are supposed to be unconditional love, but that feeling you feel about that little person that comes out is just something that you've never felt. So I think the best part is like being able to live my life all for that little guy, or in my case, that little guy, to be the best person he can be. So I think the best part for me is just being available for my son every day.
Oh, so, and Keaton, do you think that you changed your perspective once you saw the actual birthing process?
So crazy enough, a lot of people don't know this, but I already shared this story a couple of times. I didn't see my son be born.
Okay.
And I think the crazy part was my wife, he was born during the pandemic, July 2020. She had just tested positive for COVID. We didn't even know. So then when she was pushing, she had to go get a C-section. And the doctor told me, Tim, like, oh, if she got to go get a C-section, you can't come. So I didn't really, to be honest, I probably didn't feel that true attachment until he was about 2 or 3 months, because I didn't see him be born. I didn't really understand. Like, I didn't carry him, so I didn't have that initial one, but we did skin to skin every day for like almost the first 3 months. And it was just like, I think when he started identifying me, like if people came in the room, he'll look at me like, no, I want my dad. He may not say that, but he'll start looking at me crying like, come get me. I think that's what made me really like, oh, damn, like this little person really needs me. I think that's what really changed it for me.
Okay. Louis, Jay?
I'll go. I think, and can you repeat the question again? I want to make sure I cover it the right way.
So the first part is just, what's the best part for you of being a father?
Yeah, so I'd say it's rewarding. You get an opportunity to experience love differently, like Keenan alluded to. The thing my mom told me when I told her my wife was pregnant is, she said, Louis, you think you've loved before, but you've never loved anything the way that you're going to love your kid. And she was right. And I think it's reciprocated too, because when a kid tells you they love you back when they're old enough to really display that affection, you know it's sincere. You know it's sincere because they have nothing to gain from it. So that's something that I didn't think about as well. So that part is truly rewarding for sure.
Yeah.
I think for me, it's just being like in the spotlight, being a hero. Like when I work hard all day, and I'm busting my tail. Like I said, y'all know my backstory. I used to travel with work, and now I've transitioned to working every day and coming home every day. So it's been great. But just coming through that door and hearing "Daddy," that moment right there, you can't remake it.
Right.
Like that, just because you're always gonna be their hero. Like no matter how you go through the day and like you have all your trials and tribulations, when you come home to them, they're so excited to see you. You forget all of that stuff. That's what's the best feeling for me.
Is there ever a time where you feel like you're not their hero, or you're not fulfilling the father role?
I think it is a lot of times, but I think it's more so on me, not them. I feel like I put so much pressure on myself that it's like when I feel like that they want to do those daddy-daughter dates, or they want to, you know, go somewhere and have a great time with me, and I'm not able to fulfill that because of work or other things, I feel like that I'm disappointing them. But when I realized that, let's say that I did say it's a daddy-daughter day on Saturday, and something came up, maybe I have to DJ, or maybe something came up that would spare the moment, on Sunday they still wake up and they're like, daddy, like, so it erases all that feelings that I feel, because it's like, even though I'm hard on myself, they don't view me as that.
Okay. And that makes sense, right? Because and I've talked about this with y'all before. Like, I know for me, my dad is like my hero, right? And there has been times, I think, seeing the sacrifices that he made, right? And he, you know, even continues to make. And I think there are times, Jay, to your point, like, as the kids, you know, and we all can speak to this, we don't always see the sacrifices. We don't always see what is the challenging parts, or we don't always see when our parents might not feel like they are being our hero, right? So for y'all, and anybody can take this one, but like, what is the most challenging part about being a parent? What's the most challenging part about being a dad?
For me, and I experienced this recently, is their innocence. There's so much innocence that's attached to a child. And when you're raising Black children, you have to expose them to more reality sooner so that they can understand what's happening around them, especially if they're growing up in an environment where they're not, when you know, they're not it's represented. So like this weekend, my son, you know, was talking about police. I don't hate to bring it up, but just being honest, talking about police. He's like, yeah, our police are my friend, you know, and he was talking about Jesus. He's like, yeah, they're like Jesus. I was like, well, hold on. Let me stop you right here, son. I said, you know, there are people too, and there are good and bad people in the world. And unfortunately, they're good and bad police officers, you know? And I said, what I want you to understand is that, you know, they are here to protect us, and there are good people, but there are also other sides to it. And then I talked about George Floyd. I was like, hey, do you remember when these things happened? And, you know, that was a cop, you know, that wasn't good. So you have to understand, you know, what you're dealing with, but you can't generalize it either, right? But he was sad. He cried. He's a really emotional kid. He cried. but it hurt me. But I knew in that moment when he said that to me, I was like, okay, I have to give him the reality of it, because I don't want him to experience what I did. And I think me as a Black man, which I'm fortunate, I kind of have some of the answers to the test. I kind of know what he's going to experience growing up. And you know, going from and Black boys is really it's a scary thing, because I remember going from being like an innocent kid in the way people would look at me, to when I started to become a man, and how people started to look at me differently, and my innocence was gone. You know, so I say that's probably the most difficult thing, is the innocence part of it.
No, Gina.
That's good, Lewis. That's good.
Appreciate it, bro.
Yeah, it was. I like, and then like just moving forward, I don't like to go behind Lewis because it's hard, bro.
Okay.
Yeah,
he always like drop the bag on it. Then you gotta go. You know what I'm saying? But
weak shit.
I think the most challenging part for me is, and my son's really young, but I think I realized this early and kind of try to deal with it. I think it's like feeling worthy of being that person's parent. Like, I think a lot of us deal with validation issues no matter where they stem from. And I think that when you start to realize that this little person sees everything you do and they don't know the struggle, it's hard to separate it in front of them. Like, they don't know what they don't know. So I think me coming from a background with abandonment issues with my pops, like, I can honestly say, you know your spouse, quote unquote, needs you, but like this little human, they need you. So you got to make yourself available every day and feeling worthy to carry that mantle of them needing you, and you having to provide that emotional support, whatever it is, provide whatever it is. I think the most challenging part is like reiterating to yourself, like, you are enough to make sure you can carry this task. Like, you want so much for them that you put pressure on yourself that you won't be able to provide it because you want so much for them. So like telling yourself and reassuring that, like, nah, I can do that. You know, so I'm gonna be everything he needs no matter what happens. And if I'm not in the moment, I'm going to figure out how to be that. So just making sure that you continuously validate yourself and let yourself know you're worthy of being those babies or baby's parent.
Yeah.
Dope. That's true.
That's dope too. to kind of piggyback off what you were saying too. What I do with my girls is like that validation thing, and just boosting their confidence. For me, like I tell them every day, you're smart, you're beautiful, and I reassure them that. But it's like reciting that to them, making sure they understand that and what that means. Like, because it's not just saying it to them, because I mean, I literally say that every day. And, we laugh and joke, and we have a little cheesy thing we do, like, you smart, beautiful. And I'll be like, well, why you say that? Because my daddy said so. We do like some little cheesy stuff. But it's like, I'm just reassuring them, like, I want you to understand those things and understand the inner beauty within inside of you, because I never had the opportunity when I was growing up. Like, I never had somebody have me focus on myself. It was always like growing up, focus on everybody else. So I'm trying to instill in them, like, focus on yourself and know that you are smart. You are beautiful. And when you own that and know that, it'll open up so many type of doors that you didn't even know you were able to go through. So that's my thing for me.
Dope. I can really appreciate that. First of all, for all three of y'all. And that's the reason why we even had this pod, because I think society kind of paints a picture of the single mom, right? Everybody talks about a single mom and her struggles and nobody focuses on single dad, if there are single dads out there, or people that are in a healthy relationship and what fatherhood actually looks like. It's always mommy, mommy, mommy. And mommy is important. No shade to the moms, but so is dad. And it wasn't it. My dad has been in my life forever. And we've always had a good relationship. And it's safe to say that, yeah, I am daddy's little girl. But then when I had my son recently, there's certain things that I looked at him and I said, I don't know how to do this. Starting from changing diapers, like I don't own the male private part. So I don't know how to, I have to learn these things, but I can't teach you what a man can teach you about certain things. Or what am I going to tell my Black son in the world? Like Lewis was saying, you're a young Black man. I can only come from a mother's perspective, from a woman's perspective. So actually having a father, having my husband, being able to instill some of these things in our children is very important. It's super important. Fathers are important, y'all.
Okay, talk heavy. That's a fact. Talk heavy now.
That's true.
Very important. They're super, super important. So I'm going to jump, Asia, I'm going to jump because he touched on it and I want to dig into y'all brains a little bit.
All right, wait. Before you say that though, I do want to say, in showing gratitude, not just the fact that y'all are like fathers, right? Because that's like hella dope. But the fact that y'all are Black men, right? The fact that y'all are present Black fathers. And I think that's so amazing because I think the narrative sometimes is not also just like the single mom, but it's always like the absentee Black dad, right?
Yes.
So see that, that y'all as Black men are stepping up, right? And are just being present and both having, sons and daughters, right? I think it's just phenomenal. So, for us, we really just wanted to make sure that the world gets to see this because it's like, y'all are here, y'all are present, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we just really wanted to give y'all your flowers, as they say. But I didn't need to
appreciate that.
Thank you.
Like, I thank y'all so much. I don't know if y'all feel this way, Jay and Lewis. It's so weird, like, because in my mind, and I'm pretty sure in theirs, you never thought about not being in your kid's life. And it feels so normal to us. But like, you realize, like, from other people how normal it's not. But to us, it's like it never crossed my mind that my son could do anything that I'm gonna turn my back. It's just never there. So first of all, thank y'all. It's just like, damn, like I guess it really is different. Cause I mean,
I'm gonna tell you what.
You spoke on it. Hey, you spoke on it.
I think I didn't realize how much of an anomaly it is because the people that I associate with are that. Like I couldn't see myself, and this is crazy, but I couldn't see myself associating with a friend who wasn't present for his child. Like that's how much I value fatherhood. Now, not to get anyone's business, but these are the type of folks that I associate with. So this is all I get to see, really, and my children see. So.
That's good.
And I think it's safe to say, like, I'm listening to y'all talk and I think about, like, our audience and personal experiences from our friends, from family members, and what that means when it comes to fathers actually showing up. Because we see memes every day, baby mama, baby daddy drama, or whatever that means. So I guess my question to y'all is, what does it mean to you to actually show up for your child? And then when you show up, what are you know what? I'm gonna leave that alone. That's sticky. I'm gonna leave that alone.
Say it.
No,
Don't
no,
answer that
no.
now. Yeah, you gotta.
We give authenticity entertainment.
Come
Come
on
on
now.
with it.
I'm gonna leave
Tell her to say that.
No, say it. You gotta say it.
I'm
Say
interested. I want to
Say
know.
it now.
Don't get
let
unsticky
me
now.
let me think about how to word that the right way, because
Okay.
I don't want
Don't
to
be worried about
no,
all that.
no,
Go ahead,
no.
shoot it out
You
there.
worried
Let's
about the
go.
word and say what you got to say
Yeah.
now. We ain't come up here for all that.
Yeah, let me word this correctly. So first question is, what does it mean for y'all to show up for y'all kids?
I went first a couple times. Jay?
For me, it means to show up like for me, not only physically but emotionally, and just be emotionally available for them. Like I want to show up and be not only physically here, but be here with them like mentally and emotionally. Like I want to be able to be available for them. That's what I had to realize. Like it's not just about you being physical, because I know a lot of dads, parents that are like physically here, right? I get that. But it's different when you're physically here and when you're actually in a child's life, to where you attach to them in like different ways. Emotionally, like you can understand and feel their vibration. Like when you attach, I'm locked in with my girls. I can feel their vibrations. I can feel when they're like emotionally disturbed. I can feel all this because I'm locked in with my girls. So it's like I want to create the atmosphere to where you can come share anything with daddy. I'm not going to judge you. I'm not going to do all that, because I want to have that open dialogue with you to where you know that like it's okay.
Good.
Yes, amen.
So,
Yes, I think he took the.
he did.
I did. Yeah. Now go after that. Yeah.
Hey, bro.
It's not my turn.
I appreciate that being present emotionally. It's funny with my son, and your kids will teach. Your kids kind of show you how to parent them with their personalities. My son's open book. He talks about how he feels. I don't really have to guess. My daughter's more, introvert. And shout out to you, Asia, Brittany. Like you guys gave me something that I didn't realize. Like with my daughter, she's a princess. She's the baby. So my conversations with her were really high level. It was like, oh, you're so beautiful. You're so cute. I'm kissing you. You know what I mean? We're hugging, all this stuff. But when you said the respect thing, I'm like, wow. Now I see my daughter as this figure, but I don't really see her as a person. As crazy as it sounds, right? So what I started doing is I started talking to her every day. Like, I'm like, how can I show my daughter respect? So we just sat and I showed her that I'm really interested in whatever is going on. So we've been talking every day, and I've learned so many different things about her. And she looks forward to having those conversations with me daily. And our relationship has changed a little bit from just what you guys said, because I'm respecting her a little bit more. Not a little bit more, but I'm respecting her as a human being, not just as my daughter, not as this figure or this little baby doll, as I still see her in some ways. So that's something that is huge for me in that aspect. To answer your question, that respect factor in building that relationship with her in that manner, in that way, being there respectfully for her. There it is, being there for her respectfully.
So I'm going first. So
No.
Next I'm going
you
first.
volunteered us. No.
But you want to know what though? Honestly, it's similar but different. I think transparency is how I show up. I think like even with my son being young, I even tell him, hey man, right now daddy can't take it. Because I think that you want to build a level of, I feel like this word is overused, but I mean it so much. Like emotional intelligence in babies while they're raw, that you don't want to have to explain those things later. So like now, literally before I came down, it's funny because I can say to him now, even though he's not speaking, he'll run up to me. I'm like, go in there with mommy. He'll turn around and crawl right on in there. Like, you know what I'm saying? And it's right. Like in my kitchen, if I'm like, yeah, tones are very important. So I try to make sure that I'm a loud person. Y'all know that already. But like, I think the transparency and like how my tones are, letting him know like, hey man, today wasn't the best day. Even though he's a baby, letting him know what those things look like. I just think showing up means transparency, because I really believe he's going to do things that I say, but I know he's going to take in things I say. He's going to do what he sees me do. You know what I mean? So I think like that transparency, especially with my wife, because I refuse to have a boy be disrespectful to women.
Mm-hmm.
And if he makes that decision on his own, it won't be because of the model I set for him about his mother.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? So I think
that's true.
Because I don't know how real y'all gonna be, because y'all know y'all both have daughters.
No, I'm gonna be honest. We're gonna beat him. He ain't gonna do that. We're gonna beat him.
No, I'm talking about, but I'm saying,
We
but Jay, I'm
gonna
saying
beat
from the other side, like, I know it's scary for males to have daughters, but I think that for me, I think it's scary to have a son that's like out here being, you know what boy, like, you know what I'm saying, like, bro, like you ain't even like, you know what I mean? And there's, you get what to me, because I'm like, bro, you can't be treating people any type of way. What does that look like? What does that make your mother look like? Like you just grew up in somewhere where you don't know respect. You know what I mean? So to answer the question, transparency in every moment from the beginning all the way to the end.
I think that's great. And even like, because this was a question that I had, you know, there was a time where everybody was talking about, you know, being a girl dad, right? And then there's the boy dad. And I think it's great because Jay, you have all girls.
I do. I have 2 girls.
Right. And then Lewis, you have a boy and a girl. Right. Okay. And then Kenny, you have a son. So I want to hear from all y'all, what does it mean? Right. So like, for instance, Jay, what is it like to father girls? Like, what is it that's like, all right, as a girl dad, I have to make sure that my daughters know this. I have to make sure that they have this for me. And then I kind of want to hear y'all's perspective on.
He's the right one to answer that question.
Yeah, I definitely am. You know what I'm saying? I'm ready for the smoke. You know what I'm talking about? But like for me having all girls, it's like I want to show them. That's why I'm with my wife. Like I want to show them a good model of what how a man is supposed to treat a woman. You know what I mean? Like everybody goes through ups and downs, but it's like I want you to see that it's okay to have conflict resolution. It's okay to go through certain things, but understand that it's a certain way a man should love you. Like even for my girls, I open the door for them. Like I open the house door for them, the car door for them, so I can show them that chivalry. It's not dead. It's like, I want to show them that it's okay, but you should not, like, my daughter's trying to open up doors. No, we're not doing that. I'm here. Your man is supposed to do that for you. And I think that's instilling in them, like, you know what, like, this is what I'm supposed to look for in a father. It's tough because it's like you want your daughters to pick, let me be a very good citizen. You know what I mean? When they get older. But being real, all girls go through that phase where they might want a thug. They might want, whatever they want. So you have to be realistic. But at the same time, I just want my girls to understand, like, what it is to be a good father and a good model. What that looks like. That's what I strive for. And I show them that. I give them that love and that affection. That's why I tell them you're smart, you're beautiful. I want to tell them all those things and give them that game. So that way a little bum that's coming up out here not hitting them with the little minimum, you know what I'm saying? Then they like, oh, wow, that's crazy. Like, no, we're not doing that. Like, no, we're not getting excited over no bum saying some simple shit to you. We're going to be real. You know what I'm saying? He going to have to come correct. Because it's like, I'm your dad. Like, come on, I done put you up on game. Like, don't do that.
See, and I think, and Jake, I'm gonna piggyback off that because this directly ties into Jay's point, and because my journey, especially with these 2 gentlemen, was different. They had kids way before me, so I was the uncle way before I was dad, right? But I think even this story specifically is with like Jay's daughters, and it ties into fatherhood because male figures, like I never forget. I forgot why I was back home chilling with my 2 nieces, his daughters, and we just chilling, and I asked her like, yeah, well, She was like, what little boy you like in school? Like, what little boy you like, da-da-da. And I think it's important that also our kids see positive male role models that's not their dad. Because who's to say that, and me and Jay has had this conversation multiple times, his daughter may not be comfortable saying something to him, not because he did anything wrong, just because, relationships change over the years. She may not want to disappoint him. So I think one of the biggest things that we've done in our relationship as bros is like embrace the role of like the positive village. You want to see like when I'm back home and me and Britt come through Lewis' house, you want to see them positive interactions with other couples. Like you want to see your kids come around people that like, oh, so like if you bring somebody, like say one of their daughters brings somebody home, like you can't only run game on your dad, but you got other people you got to try to get it through too. You ain't gonna just like, nah. And they mimic all those relationships because none of them are the same. So because I'll never forget that day. And she told me, and to the day, I won't tell Jay what she said because that ain't none of his business. Because she told me.
No, it is. What the fuck she say, bro? Nah, real shit. I already know the relationship y'all got. I would never press you out about that.
Yeah, for sure. But I think it's beautiful that he opened the door for me to really be in the uncle role for my niece. There's some people that say that, but they don't really utilize that to help the village really help them raise the baby.
Mm-hmm.
That's a fact, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Big facts.
Yeah.
So is it safe to say y'all have like an open door policy? And how open is that door, right? So if you're for the girl dads, your baby come home pregnant, what we doing? And for the boy dad, your son come home and he likes men. What we doing?
I thought about that.
Okay.
I've thought about both of those scenarios.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing I will say, it's actually an advantage having a boy and a girl because you get to place the value on both, and they actually kind of adapt those behaviors amongst each other. My son values his sister, so therefore he'll value a woman. My daughter sees my son, therefore she values him. You know, a boy. So it's actually an advantage there to have one of each. But as far as the daughter coming home pregnant, I think when it comes to just sex, because that's the first thing, right? I just don't want my daughter to be taken advantage of as I've done to women, you know, my past. But
hey, Lewis, why you always look away from the camera when you say
right,
that?
don't put that on record, bro. Don't put that on record.
He's so disappointed in himself.
He
is. I know.
Bro.
And I'm a good guy. And look, and I'm a good guy. I'm one of the good
guys.
No, Lewis, you were a good guy. You was on that fuck shit.
Yeah, were. Yeah,
you was on that fuck shit. I'm gonna tell you right now. You was on that stuff.
Yeah,
you was on that stuff, boy.
I was tripping, but you know, I think that it's just important for me to show her value within herself. Because as much as I want to control it, I'm not trying to be T.I. or anything. She's gonna make that decision.
Oh God, no.
She's gonna make that decision on her own. But it's just all I can do is train her in a certain way and give her the value to value herself to make those decisions because I can't control what she does. But I do want her to know that she can come to me and that I'm gonna support her in whatever decisions that she makes, as long as she's not harming herself. With my son, let's say he were to come home and tell me that he had an interest in the same sex. One, I'm gonna love him anyway. That's my son, And then I think what D Wade has shown us, though I just can't speak on that situation completely because I don't want to offend anyone, because I just realize there's things about that I don't understand. So if my son were to come to me and explain to me that he likes the same sex, I know I don't understand that. So as a parent, and that's what D Wade, I've seen D Wade say this and I agree with this, it's my job to understand what it is that he needs, how to support him. What does support look like in that situation? Even though I may not agree or completely understand, how can I be there for you, son? Because that's my job for you, because I care about you at the end of the day.
Right.
So that would be my first steps if those two scenarios were to come about.
And so I think this, and I'm gonna just be straight, really, 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 really real about it. I think in both instances there's a level of disappointment, like not because the news, because typically as a heterosexual man, you envision your child's life how you lived your life. But what I will say, what Lewis said, I'm not losing my son over anybody or anything. That's not going to happen. But I think that we have to normalize, as adults and adults to children, normalize questioning why. Oh, I don't like light skinned boys. So for instance, say if I had my son comes home and says, oh, I like her because she light skinned, I'm gonna challenge that. Why is it just that? So if my son came home and said, like, I think I have attraction for men, I'll say, oh, what make you think that? Like, what happened? Like, not because it's bad, because I won't want to normalize conversation in my house. Nothing's just going to go past. Nothing's just going to be, oh, okay. I'm like, oh, okay. Where that feeling come from?
Yeah, go ahead.
You keep having those conversations. Now, I think under that is about understanding. Like, at the very end of the day, no person that has done anything, whether that's go to jail, murder somebody, whatever, no parent intentionally raised them to do any of that. But you have to be okay with giving the tools to your child to be a good person. That there's a learning curve on that. There's things you're going to go through that you don't understand. But I think the biggest part is, like, you never allowed them, you raised them to always challenge things. So when those conversations come up, you can have them because you've always challenged those things, not because you don't want them to do that. Because at the very end of the day, like Lewis said, we've all 5 of us have done things that don't nobody know that we probably ain't the most proud of, but it ain't going to be told to nobody.
Right.
So for me, I'm going to just question if it really stick from, okay, cool, and we got to figure out how to roll with it, to me.
Facts. But on the pregnant thing, maybe I feel a certain way because I'm a product of a teenage pregnancy. You know what I'm saying? So like I can kind of get over that, you know, but like the gay thing, I feel like as a parent, if I'm really in tune with my kids, I would know. I feel like I would have some type of intuition of that, you know, because no one had to tell me to like women. I from day one, I knew what I wanted.
Okay,
right?
okay, Future. Go ahead, Future.
But I'm just saying, like day one, I was like, I like this. I don't know what it is about it.
Hey, look, so they cut your umbilical cord. You just like women.
I like women.
My dad was young and he was single. Like my parents are divorced, and I'd seen stuff I wasn't supposed to see. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
but
okay.
I know I wanted to partake in whatever was going on, but
you was a little fucking thought pocket. That's what
I was.
You was a fucking thought pocket.
He's doing that look away thing again.
I'm telling you, that's when he feel guilty.
Hey, look away.
What's going on in that room?
Hey, look, ain't nothing in that corner you keep looking at. Go ahead,
Nothing.
bro.
Hey, but I feel like as a parent that I think you would know. Like I could tell now, like what my son likes already. You know what I'm saying? Just from exposure. And it's funny you say light skin because when I was a kid, I did not like black girls at all because I thought they were mean. So I just like white girls. And my mom said the same thing to me that you said. She was like, "Why?" And I was like, "Well, they're just mean." You know what I mean? I just thought they were just all mean, you know, growing up.
Fair.
But
I'm sorry, Jay.
I just want to start off by saying I never like white women. What I'm saying is that you know what I'm saying. I just want to put that out there.
I'm married to a beautiful black queen. I'm just saying.
I'm married to a black queen. You know what I'm talking about? I always like a black girl. But anyway, fast forward. Like for me, I just want to get that on record. But for me, like the pregnancy thing is like I be getting confused sometimes because my oldest daughter is 9. And I be thinking in my head, like I have older nieces, like that's 13, 11, 12. And I start thinking like, I struggle with when is it time to talk to my daughters about stuff like that? Because I feel like now it is time for me, like even though my oldest daughter hasn't had a period yet, I feel like it's coming because of like the way the hormones and everything are building up. I feel like I need to have a conversation with her because it's so much like social media, like TikTok and stuff. All this stuff that's going on, it's like they get real curious. So I feel like when it was time for me to talk about this sex, like, we were older, y'all. Like we were like 16, you know what I'm saying? 7. Like for them, it's so much exposure now that it's like if I don't talk to her about it, I think the curiosity could lead to early pregnancy.
But
Jay, that's what I struggle with.
You want to know what, though? I learned, Lewis alluded to this and didn't even know he did it. You remember when his son was just talking about the cop thing? I think you got to talk about it whenever they ask, but you got to say it to them in their age language. Like Lewis saying there's good people and bad people. Like, not saying.
But I don't know that language to say that in, Steve, because you know how I am. I'm very cut dry. I try to like, say, how do I talk to maybe y'all can help me. How do you talk to a 9-year-old about sex?
Because I think also we got to remember too, gender roles kind of jump in at this point. When you have a girl, I do think, let me say this right. I do think that fathers need to have these conversations with their daughters as well from a man's perspective. Don't let a man take advantage of you. Don't say this is what I was doing, but obviously from your experience, you can tell her what to look for and what not to look for, right? But that's where your wife comes in. That's where motherhood comes in, because it's like, okay, I'm a woman. Now I'm gonna teach you how to respect yourself. You gotta respect yourself. Don't open your legs for any and everything. Our bodies are temple. If we go in the religious route, those are the type of things where it brings balance when you have both parents. So motherhood and fatherhood, both are important in the child's life. Like, just like I couldn't tell my son certain things, that's for his father to do. I feel the same way about my daughter. There's certain things that her dad can't teach her that only I can, because I'm a woman and I've experienced those things that you are going to encounter. I don't know, Asia, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know if your dad could tell you certain things.
Yeah, that was good, Brittany. That was real good.
It was good.
Because the sex talk that I got when I was growing up was, if you have sex before you marry, you're going to hell.
Yeah, we all got that.
Right. I didn't have a comprehensive type of conversation, but because of that, I didn't feel comfortable talking to my parents at all about it. So Keenan, to your point, if they ask a question about it, I was not asking my parents any question about sex or anything like that. You know what I'm saying? So what I do think is that I think when her period is starting, right? Because the conversation is always about, okay, your body's going to be changing now. These are certain things. I think it's just an easier transition to say, okay, these are other ways that your body can change, right? Because you might start experiencing, there might be a boy that you like at school, right? And your body might start reacting to that too. I think if it's already a conversation around her body, right, that she is experiencing, because she's going to have questions about that too, right? Which she might not want to come to you about. That's where mom comes in, right? And mom can talk to you about that. But I think when to have a conversation, I think it's around that time, right? When her body is already changing, right? On the other hand, I think that it's so important for dads to have part of that conversation though, as far as the sex talk goes. Because as women, we can tell our daughters, right? I don't have any kids, but we can tell our daughters, this is what I experienced, right? So woman to woman, woman to girl, this is what I experienced. But if the father is already doing things like opening the door, right? And saying you're beautiful, right? What happens when this dude that's no good is opening my door, is calling me beautiful, right? But his intention is to only get that one thing. So now I wouldn't know that, right? I wouldn't know unless my dad came to me and said, hey, baby girl, there's going to be dudes out here, right? They are going to treat you nice. They're going to come off that way. But I do want you to know that there might be other things on their minds, so that it's not surprising, and that my first heartbreak isn't but he did everything my dad said a real guy's supposed to do.
That is real. That is so real.
I think that's a conversation that needs to be had. What do you do when it all seems right, but the one thing that's on his mind is this? I can't speak to what's on a man's mind, right? I just know the heartbreak that I felt. But as fathers, y'all know that, right? Because
that's facts. Yeah.
So I think having those transparent, Keenan, to your point about transparency, right? I think having those types of conversations when baby girl starts talking about her first crush, right? When she starts talking about, this boy at school that was calling her pretty, or the reason why she's doing her hair a certain way all of a sudden is because of, of this boy or whomever, right? Because to be honest, and another thing is this curiosity thing. Certain things are trendy, okay? Certain things seem cool. Certain things people just might have questions about, and they might not know. So they might be bi-curious for a little bit, right?
That's true. That's very true.
And to be honest, if we're thinking psychologically, that is actually very, and I think, Keenan, this goes to your point about asking the whys, because psychologically, most children, they notice that their body parts are different than other people's, right? Especially because you'll have little boys that might be in the bathroom where mom is in the bathroom too. And it's well, that looks different than mine, right? And sometimes as kids, they start to explore different things, right?
Okay, sis. She's using her degree tonight, y'all.
I'm talking about she walking heavy. Put them snaps in. I'm gonna snap for that right there.
Yeah, cut it out. But yeah, so I think all in all, I think both the mom, the dad, or whoever, I think should be a part of that conversation, because it's a critical one.
And to your point, Asia, two things to your point. It's another thing with psychology. There's a age where children are attracted to their parents, and it may be the same sex. And then that's another way where you start to create boundaries between no, we don't hug like this anymore, or we don't because they don't know the difference right then.
They don't. That's facts.
In that stage, that's important, because also when it's the opposite sex parent, that's also creating boundaries to let them know how they want to be approached by the opposite sex. So I think a lot of times when we talk about the same sex thing and all those, there are a lot of factors that play into that early on that we weren't taught, that we still have to implement, even though we weren't taught those things.
Right.
And the last thing I will say this, I've had a cheat code with preteens and teenagers. Been an educator for like 9 years. Like I've heard kids tell me why they don't tell their parents. I've heard kids tell me almost everything. I've learned how to talk to kids from the age of 11 all the way to 18. And I've had kids be like, yo, well, they, obviously they call me Mr. Mills. Like, yo, like my older brother, I've been the uncle. With middle schoolers, they think I'm the dad. Whatever the case may be, it doesn't really matter. But the point I'm making is, like, I've learned how to maneuver like around the psychology of kids. Mm-hmm. So hearing all those conversations, when I hear the kids tell me, yeah, because my parent makes me feel like this because they do that, I put that in my bag. Like, okay, that's different. And I know every environment is different, but I kind of got a cheat code. But that was it.
Okay.
But yeah, I think you're smart enough too. I think you're smart enough.
No, I'm smart enough too. I'm just saying, like, it's like, it's a little different, bro.
It's different when you gotta have that conversation. Like
it is. Hey, Lewis, it is, bro.
So I'm sitting here listening to you. I'm like, man.
But she
my
knows
daughter's
you
6.
as Dad Lewis, not the Lewis I met when we.
But I feel like Asia for me made it easier for me because the transition, like she said, if her body's changing, that's a good segue to like insert all of those different things. That was very powerful. I ain't never thought about that. I was like, damn, that is a dope.
Yeah, that's dope.
Time. That was dope.
Jay
Okay, degree.
Like,
okay, degree.
Hey, Lewis, Jay probably be like, nah, that period need to go ahead and go on. No,
yeah. Hey, cut that red light off. I don't know what the fuck you going through. Know them out. You better stop that bleeding, girl.
Jay probably like, oh man.
Fuck you.
And this has been another episode of Small Talk. You already know, 2 queens, 3 kings tonight with 5 perspectives. That's one topic. It was on fatherhood, part 1. Stay tuned for the next episode of Small Talk Fatherhood Part 2. We got it coming soon. Peace.